We will call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chair, and with me today is Commissioner June Brown
Present.
and Commissioner William Cressy.
Also present.
Next item is the consideration of the agenda. Any proposed changes? Hearing none, I will proceed with approval of the board meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2025 and May 13, 2025. Is there a motion to approve these two board meeting minutes?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Second by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is a report from our interim executive director, Sandra Espera. Mrs. Espera, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner Brown, and Commissioner Cressy. We are currently mailing out updated voter ID cards. I requested that they reflect the updated school board districts. Additionally, our website has updated maps to assist voters in identifying their respective districts. The initial testing of the Joint Petition Program, the JPP module, has been completed successfully. A final round of testing is scheduled prior to the petition filing period to ensure full functionality and readiness. Nick Esposito, our ADA compliance officer, will be attending the 2025 National ADA Symposium at Atlanta, Georgia from June 15th through the 18th. Nick's participation underscores our commitment to upholding ADA standards and enhancing accessibility across our operations. I would like to thank Commissioner Brown for bringing this opportunity to our attention. I am planning a site visit to Block 37 this afternoon to assess its suitability as a venue for in-person judge training sessions as well for Election Day functions. I will continue collaborating with the finance manager and division managers to refine our preliminary budget plans. This ongoing process ensures that our financial resources are allocated effectively to support our strategic initiatives and operational needs. The finance manager will be sharing the details with the commissioners this week. The staff and I met with Alderman Brandon Riley last week to discuss possible locations to move the 42nd Ward early voting location. Prior to the meeting, Rick Thurman and Larry Hansen were able to provide him with a detailed map that included voter turnout data. The Polling Places Department staff canvassed all precincts located north of the river, compiling a list of potential locations. This task was completed by Aaron Parker and James Medina. I felt the meeting was successful and look forward to working closely to find a possible location for the 2026 elections.
Great.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions?
Thank you. On Block 37, essentially we're going to have the same spaces we've had before?
I believe it may have been reduced, so we're going to tour today.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Spera. Now we'll go to our Public Information Director, Max Bever. Max, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Some updates on the communication side. We released our new interactive voter turnout map on our website, which includes a by-precinct breakdown for ballots cast in precinct, by early voting, and voting by mail. This was a big project done by our Districts and Boundaries team. We're looking forward to creating a lot more maps in the future. This initial one is the voter turnout for the last presidential election. We're looking to continue to add on that and improve, including contest and candidate results in the future after each election. But right now, this is a new tool that's on the website, so members of the public and people can explore those by precinct or ward turnout results. We also sent it all to all of the Chicago City Council offices. We've received some great feedback so far from their staff and members of the public to help promote it as a resource moving forward. We have a couple of other website projects that will be happening over the next few months, including an improved vote-by-mail online application, as directed by Clint Hurd from Peeville, and a new interactive FOIA page, as directed by our FOIA officer, Joan Agnew. So these will be upcoming resources over the coming weeks that we'd like to show you before they go live again. But this is getting to the end of our second-year contract with our website vendor for these projects, and I'm happy to say, look, we are meeting everything right under budget and within our timeline for these projects. Registration Department hosted an initial meeting with our contracted handwriting expert, and I'm working to create a communications plan that has materials coming out of that partnership, including training videos, fact sheets, posters for petition checks, and for election judges checking in voters at the poll books. We think that this is going to be helpful communications both for our staff and for election judges moving forward. Last bit on the communication end, I'll be releasing some new election information materials this month, including some updated flyers with election dates, timeline, and offices on the ballot. And I'm also going to be working with Community Services to revive our election judge newsletter to do a check-in with our existing and regular judges before we make the big push this summer and later this year to get new judges heading into the March primary. That is it for communications.
It's a lot of communications.
We're trying to keep busy this summer.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I think all of that is just wonderful. It's great.
Thank you.
I have a quick question regarding the registration and, I'm sorry, the information on the website too. Has the budgeting for all of that information been submitted?
For next year or
For
for?
all the things that you mentioned you were going to do, the posters, and I know that you said registration was meeting.
Oh, this our handwriting expert. Yes, in fact, this is the expert is offering this as part of the contract, so really above and beyond. The training video, we are exploring different options, but this vendor has their own setup and can do direct to camera. So this will be very helpful and already part of the contract.
And on the community service and election judges, is that a community out, in part of their community outreach, and how is the Judges Department working with that?
So I do work with Community Services. I draft a newsletter. It's been a little while. We had one early at 2024. We think this is a good time to just check in with our existing judges, making sure that they're still planning to serve for March, and then continue to grow those judges for a communication later in the year. So these are just regular check-ins, letting them know when the election date is. Updates on W-2s, other types of rules, just making sure that we are taking this opportunity in the summer of not going completely quiet and checking in with our judges.
And the Judges Department, how do they do the recruitment on the judges, or the?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. So this would be for our existing judges. At this point, we have an email list that we create a newsletter for.
Great, thank you.
On our interactive map on voter turnout, do you know, is this like cutting edge for our jurisdiction? I mean, are other jurisdictions doing anything like that?
Really, I think we've matched what the other major cities are doing at this point, such as LA County and New York. This is a function that I've wanted for a while. You know, this is where, you know, you go on Sun Times or WBZ or ABC7, and often they've got their turnout maps. But this is so much more, rather than candidate results, specifically on voter turnout and which styles of voting, which we hope will be a very interesting resource for the public as well as candidates and campaigns. So right now, you can go up there, take a look at a precinct, and it's going to break down how that precinct voted, including by who voted on Election Day, who early voted, and who voted by mail.
Okay, do you know, has the academic community, I think, is going to love this. Have they been notified? And if not, would it be okay if I notify them?
I would love to work with you on that, Commissioner. So we just released it late last week. It sent it around to Chicago City Council. I think the more that we can do some hands-on outreach to academics, universities, and other researchers, as well as elected officials, I think will help spread the word.
Right.
And I think puts a lot more of this information up front rather than dealing with FOIA requests or Excel documents. So I'm quite excited about it. I think that the Districts and Boundaries team did an amazing job, a lot of work to get that done, and now we have a template moving forward after each election to provide those moving forward.
Fantastic, thank you.
How will this work? I mean, will this be real time as well as we approach early voting? Will we have Will those numbers be fed into?
Right now, just make sure that we're making sure that every
Yeah,
number
yeah.
is correct moving forward. This was a post-election project. We'll see what our options can be, especially when it comes to our early voting
Yeah.
or vote-by-mail voter
Yeah,
turnout
yeah,
results.
yeah.
But for the time being, just make sure for accuracy, this was a post-election project. We can see what our options are moving forward. All of the map technology is internal. That's not done through our website vendor. That's through Esri. That is through our districts and boundaries department. So really, they can take a lot of things by request, and I know have made. Want to tell the commissioners too, if you'd ever come down to the 6th floor and want to see this in motion or ask to see data done in a different way, they're completely open to those requests.
Okay,
So
thank you.
is this part of the community outreach and services programming for civic education and engagement?
Nope, just internal to us. So this was a project we've been working on for the better part of the year with our website vendor to get this done, as well as our districts and boundaries department continuing to improve our internal mapping systems.
It might be something of interest to particular groups, though, so maybe you guys can look.
It is. I know that our community services and our language access team, as well as our outreach team, started sharing that resource. And it's very helpful for them to determine outreach within their specific areas, say South or West Side, as well as limited English proficiency precincts. So it's helpful for us to know the turnout within these types of different buckets. That is helpful for our community outreach team to know what might need more attention and what has a pretty good amount of attention already.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if there's no further questions, and we'll go into old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, including electronic poll books and voting equipment. Mrs. Spera, anything new?
Nope,
Okay.
nothing new.
Legislation. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, Commissioners. As you know, there was an elections omnibus bill introduced on Saturday, May 31st, but by the time the legislature wrapped up its spring session on June 1st, they had not called it for a vote. So the biggest news is that that did include our requested clarification on school board election petition circulation and filing. So that did not get a vote, unfortunately. We had, of course, heard that both sides, the Senate and the House, agreed that the error in the statute should be corrected, so I'll discuss further with you, a course of action for how to deal with that. It does not, it does not look to our lobbyists as though there's going to be a special session called this summer. The statements we've seen in the media and so forth are that there will be no legislation until the veto session this fall. So we'll follow up more about that offline.
Okay.
Also, internally, we've been discussing the SAVE Act, which has been approved by the United States House. Still has not been called for any action in the Senate, but it's pending in Washington. We also recently had a conversation with the State Board of Elections in which they gave us a presentation and a discussion about the SAVE Act. I can just report there, it sounds like we're all on the same page with understanding the content of it and how it would affect our registration procedures and our election administration. We're going to continue to stay in touch with the State Board, and they said they're doing that, obviously statewide with all the election authorities. Also, Ms. Aspera has directed our managers to come up with written plans for their divisions as a contingency, what we need to anticipate and what we need to think about for changes we'd have to make if that bill is enacted. So that's my legislative report.
Two quick questions. Number one, since there was no vote on the election omnibus bill and thus could not be vetoed, can it be brought up at a fall veto session, or is it just dead until next time that?
Our lobbyist has said that it could be. I
Okay.
don't know how those procedures work, but he said that the subject matter could be, even if it's maybe tacked into another bill that was up for veto. I'm not sure how that works, but he said that's a possibility.
And while not technically legislation, there was an executive order with regards to elections that was issued by the president. As I understand, it's currently been stopped by a federal judge. Anything further on that you know of?
I don't know anything further on the status of that. I have previously reported that the state leadership's outlook on that is that it's, that we follow the duly enacted laws, both federal and state, on elections, and so until those change, we have to, we're required to follow them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now we will proceed with new business. First item on the agenda is a proposal for a renewal of a maintenance and support agreement with Integrated Document Technologies in relation to 4 of the board's Kodak Alaris document scanners. And we have our procurement officer, Carolina Roman.
Good morning. Purchasing is requesting your consideration and approval for the renewal of 2 preventative maintenance visits with Integrated Document Technologies for the Kodak Alaris scanners. IDT provides on-site maintenance support for our 4 Kodak Alaris scanners, which are located in the registration and vote-by-mail departments. The Kodak scanners are used to scan all election materials such as ballot applications, registration applications, which include new registrations, change of address, and duplicates. Additionally, the return of canvas cards with voter IDs that are mailed out to all registered voters, the second notices when a canvas card is returned as undeliverable, and any other document received that may need to be attached to a voter's file, such as cancellation requests and death certificates, are also scanned. The renewal is for 1 year with effective term dates of July 15, 2025 through July 14, 2026. Please consider granting approval for the hardware maintenance to Integrated Document Technologies for the Kodak Alaris scanners in the amount not to exceed $38,135.56.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is the technology of these scanners is still, advanced enough? There's, there've been no great advances in this, that we need to move into a new generation of scanners, correct?
Candidly, I'm unsure. I don't know how long we've had the scanners. I know that we own them. But I did want to discuss that with Jim, Carly, and Clint, since we have a total of 6 scanners. And I know we have we do this annual maintenance renewal with IDT. So I would want to look into see how old these scanners are and see if maybe we need to look into getting new ones depending on how old they are and how up to date they are in terms of software and.
Sure, but that's something we can, just moving forward, to make sure we keep an eye on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve a maintenance and support agreement with Integrated Document Technologies for on-site maintenance of the board's Kodak Alaris scanners at a cost not to exceed $38,135.56 for the term of the contract, which shall begin on July 15, 2025 and continue through July 14, 2026?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is approval of a professional services agreement with Dean Fatikas for facilities consulting and management services. And our interim executive director, Sandra Spera, will speak to that.
Yes. So we are asking for the contract with Dean Fatikas to be extended. Mr. Fatikas is the board's facility consultant. Mr. Fatikas has done a great job in locating a new early voting super site and also providing me with details of the ongoing projects at the warehouse.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
No questions.
If not, is there a motion to approve a professional services agreement with Dean Fatikas for facilities consulting and management at the rate of $70 per hour, not to exceed $95,000 over the term of the agreement, which shall begin on July 1st, 2025 and expire on June 30th, 2026?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. And thirdly, we have a renewal of a legal services agreement with Lasker Law. And Mrs. Sparrow, would you like to speak to this?
Sure. We are asking for the contract to be renewed with Lasker Law LLC. Mr. Adam Lasker is the board's general counsel and provides assistance and guidance to our staff and myself, and it's really appreciated, Adam. Just want to thank you for your assistance as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, lots of questions. No questions.
Okay, is there a motion to approve a professional services agreement with Lasker Law LLC for legal and general counsel services at the rate of $265 per hour with a term that shall begin on July 1st, 2025 and continue through June 30th, 2026?
Happily moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. And thank you, Adam,
Well,
for
thank
your
you.
work.
Thank you all. It certainly remains my honor and privilege to serve the board. I appreciate it.
And speaking of that, yeah, legal report.
Oh, oh.
No, I mean.
Now back to work with you.
Yeah, for the record, that's on the agenda next.
Yeah.
I did, in the legislative report, talked about the State Board of Elections discussion on the SAVE Act. That actually happened as a part of the annual meeting of AECOI, the Association of Election Commission Officials of Illinois. I attended that along with Mrs. Spera and others from the staff. If you think, and you've been hearing about this organization for a long time, the 6 cities that have, in Illinois that have election commissions, we meet at least once a year and discuss our own internal election administration issues. We have emails that fly back and forth when things pop up, and it's a really great organization. I enjoy being a part of it because what's very impressive is that in the smaller cities, some of these elections, like Galesburg and Danville, they have maybe 3 full-time employees. They bring in some temps, but they think, oh, we're so impressive up here in Chicago because our bulk, right? Just the numbers of voters we're dealing with.
Mhm.
But I turn around and say to them, but you handle everything.
Yeah.
You individually handle everything.
Yeah.
We both work out of the same
Yeah.
playbook, right? So, first of all, Mrs. Spera took the initiative to have several of our managers attend there's 2 different sessions, not the executive board meeting, but the open session where the state board came and spoke. And I appreciate you for doing that. I think that it's great. The more people we can have just listening to these and participating in these conversations, the better. It was nice to have them there. I want to say congratulations to Audra Lewicki, our manager of the Community Services Division. She's been involved with the association since longer than I have, and she was just elected by the executive board to serve as the next president of the organization.
Oh, great.
Also, Mrs. Spera, who's newer to being involved with the organization, was nominated by Jorge Padilla from Rockford to serve and was unanimously voted in as an at-large executive committee member.
Great.
So they're moving her up into the ranks and expecting that she'll continue to move up and serve as president someday. That's the way it usually works. That being said, we had a good meeting and did have a good conversation with the state board about the SAVE Act and other matters. It's nice that they show up and participate so we can have some one-on-one questions with them. I have had a long consultation last week with the board's ethics attorney, Mary Robinson. She and I she's really continuing the deep dive analysis on the existing ethics policies here, looking at any changes that are in the State Officers and Employees Ethics Act and other bodies of law. And so we're going to continue hearing from her any recommendations that she has on that.
Right.
I want to applaud, I think we may have heard about it briefly, our Districts and Boundaries Department. The school board maps that are online are really cool to look at if you like maps like I do as a hobbyist. But realistically, they're going to be extremely valuable, I think, for not the school board itself, but even more so the candidates who are running for those offices and even the people who reside within the school district who want to know who to contact. It's a complicated mapping schedule that was created by the legislature, but our group did a nice job, so I appreciate that. And finally, my counterpart down in the Cook County Clerk's office, Jim Nally, Attorney Jim Nally, he's retired from the County Clerk's office. He was Chief Elections Counsel there since 2019, a very long-time election attorney. He helped us ensure that we had a good relationship between our 2 agencies and that both of us were doing things according to the book, so he will be missed. And that's my legal report for today.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And is Jim Nally just retired or just?
So
or on
he-
to bigger and better things?
He's retired, and a lot of his long-term professional friends, including myself, have insisted that he's too young to be fully retired, and we're insisting that he, at some point, come back. He did adamantly state that he's taking the summer off, and he's got some new grandchildren and stuff, so, and he's a huge Cubs fan, and the Cubs are doing well, so I guess we're all okay with him taking the summer off. We will see if we can twist his arm back into the practice later on.
Okay.
Because we're always looking for good hearing officers, if nothing else. you know.
Exactly, yes.
Any idea who would be succeeding him downstairs?
I talked with Mr. Mikulowski, and they haven't made any decisions or even really interviewed yet.
But we know it's not going to be you because we just
You got me
got
another
you for
year.
another year.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But I will also say, since we've just publicly said there's no elections, they have other attorneys down there. He had a deputy, and of course, the county clerk's office is larger than just election administration. So it's not, they have the entire state's attorney's office to assist them with legal matters as needed, so they'll be okay. Big
Thank
shoes
you.
to fill.
Okay. Now we'll proceed with our financial reports. We have a balance sheet and voucher listing for the City of Chicago 2025 appropriation number 25-03 dated June 10th, 2025, in the amount of $598,428.43. Is there a motion to approve this balance sheet and voucher?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. We also have a balance sheet and voucher listing for the County of Cook, a 2025 appropriation number 25-03 dated June 10, 2025, in the amount of $11,507.15. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Do we have any requests for public comment? We have no requests for public comment. And we will be going into executive session. Mr. Lasker, what is the section number?
So, yes, it's my understanding that you are doing this for the consideration of possible employment of specific employees as authorized by Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act.
We will go into executive session, and we will then come back out and continue our meeting and then adjourn. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
There's a motion, it's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
And Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. We are now in executive session, and we will return to open session at the conclusion of executive session. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now back in executive session. The Board of Commissioners took no formal action in executive session, and at this time, there is no further business before the board, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.